Ever wondered what it really took to be a part of the Twilight franchise? It turns out the cast's experiences were not all sparkly.
Could have been better.
All because of the strict rules the actors had to follow. From avoiding sunlight to flying on strings, explore them all in this video. Let's dive in. Avoid the sun. To authentically portray their vampire characters, the Twilight actors were expected to maintain a pale complexion. Elizabeth Reeser revealed that there was no explicit contract forbidding sun exposure. However, it was an unspoken understanding among the cast. I remember Nikki Reed was in Greece, frolicking in the ocean, and Wick Godfrey, the producer, saw a picture of it on the internet and gave her a call. "Nikki, I see you in the sun." As a result, the actors had to use high SPF protection even between filming the movies.
You were saying it's kind of in your best interest to stay out of the sun, otherwise you spend more time in the makeup chair, you know. So.
But one can tell a vampire from a human not only by their flawless skin. So there was another rule, much stricter than the first. No natural eye color. According to Twilight lore, vampires have unique eye colors, influenced by their diet. Those who feed on human blood have red eyes. The Cullen family members have mesmerizing amber-colored eyes, symbolizing that they only kill animals. To achieve that supernatural look, the majority of the cast had to wear custom-painted contact lenses, and that drove the actors crazy, as they were very uncomfortable and irritating for the eyes. To top it off, they were very opaque, which affected vision.
My entire performance was based on having extreme discomfort having contact lenses in your eyes, just kind of like that the entire time. Alright.
But not only the vampire actors had to wear the contacts. Kristen Stewart's eyes are green, while her character had chocolate brown eyes in the books.
I wore brown contacts throughout the whole series, but then switching into the vampire ones was so much worse.
She often complained that they were painful and made it hard to express emotions naturally. However, there was one person who was happy that Kristen finally understood his own struggles.
I used to complain about it all the time, and Kristen was just like, "What are you talking about?" And then as soon as she gets stuff on, she's like, "I can't do anything."
And there was yet another guideline to maintain the character's iconic, brooding vibe. No smiling. The intense facial expressions of the Twilight characters became one of the signature elements of the movie franchise.
You really have to get yourself in a different mindset.
Kristen Stewart recalled that maintaining this look while filming was emotionally draining for her, but she was constantly told not to smile in promotional photos and events as well. And Robert Pattinson also mentioned that the cast had to keep their facial expressions in check, even if they didn't match their real feelings. He joked about how he would force himself to keep a serious face in front of cameras.
It's kind of a mixture of looking like slightly constipated and stoned.
And even that wasn't the last thing the actors had to be mindful of. Say goodbye to your hair. Nikki Reed, a natural brunette, had to undergo an extensive transformation to play the blonde Rosalie. It took 36 hours initially to make me blonde, and every other day I was bleaching my head and my skin. The process was so harsh that her hair started to fall out. To protect her natural locks, Nikki started to wear a wig for the role. And many of her co-stars also had to wear headpieces from the start to the end of the Twilight franchise. Cap your crown. Almost every actor in the franchise has been wearing a wig during filming. Moreover, hairstyles were constantly changing.
We look like different people in every movie, and it just, you know, you didn't really get to have a say in it.
That was quite a challenge for everyone, especially for Taylor Lautner.
That must have been a real turning point for you to get rid of the locks, or were they extensions?
That was a full-on wig.
It was all the wig.
I would never do that.
The hairpiece in question was itchy and distracting, and often got caught in Taylor's mouth during scenes. So the actor was happy to finally ditch it in the third movie. Robert Pattinson shared Lautner's feelings. Initially, there were plans to give Edward long hair using extensions, but Rob just hated them too much. Still, he did have to don a wig later for reshoots of Breaking Dawn, Part 2. Pattinson had cut his hair since the original filming wrapped. As a result, he ended up wearing a wig which he branded a Frankenstein's monster, as it was composed of multiple pieces. Kristen Stewart also had to use fake hair for Eclipse, because she had cut her hair short for another movie, The Runaways. The next rule for the Twilight cast was even more demanding. Sculpt the physique. Portraying the world's most beautiful creatures was very high pressure. Actors who played the Cullens had to maintain a lean and otherworldly appearance. Before the shooting started, they went through some intense training. And while filming, the cast continued following strict workout routines and diets to stay in shape. Robert Pattinson shared that he focused on boxing and circuit training, because vampires aren't necessarily supposed to be large and muscular. Kristen Stewart naturally has a lean figure, which was totally fine for the first movies. However, she had to train more for Breaking Dawn Part 2, when Bella became a vampire. Kristen learned to move gracefully to capture the superhuman speed and agility. But it was Taylor Lautner who really transformed for the role of a werewolf. After Twilight, the skinny teen was supposed to evolve into a hunky sex symbol in New Moon. The producers didn't think Taylor would be able to do that as well, and planned to recast Jacob.
So I had to fight for my role back and
hit the gym.
Yeah, thankfully I started that process the second we stopped filming the first movie.
Lautner had been working out for months and gained about 25 pounds of muscle, and he was forced to be in a gym multiple times a day, 6 days a week, until the final movie wrapped. The next rule immediately succeeds this one, especially for the actors who played vampires. Do your stunts. Playing the cold ones meant that the cast members had to do a lot of action scenes. First of all, they learned to move with inhuman grace through ballet training. Then, the actors prepared a lot for scenes involving super speed, super strength, and high jumps.
We were training so much for this film. You know, whenever we weren't shooting, we were at the gym or with the stunt team and learning all these sequences.
Ashley Greene revealed that she grew up doing martial arts. Still, filming wasn't an easy ride for her as well.
It was a lot of work as well, even though I kind of had some previous training.
Apart from being physically demanding, the epic action sequences were actually painful. For those fast, gravity-defying moves, the actors were attached to thin, strong wires.
You do 1 or 2 takes and it's just having your entire weight put on like the edge of a nylon strap. Just again and again and again.
The rigs and harnesses were uncomfortable and often led to bruises.
I think I'm laughing because I'm hurting so bad. It hurts so bad.
And as if it wasn't enough, the cast had to be ready to follow the next rule. Embrace the chill. Anna Kendrick revealed that the biggest challenge for her was filming in harsh weather conditions. Many of her scenes were filmed outdoors in cold, wet weather, like the prom scene or Bella and Edward's wedding. The performers were shivering in their summer formal wear. In between takes, they would cuddle under blankets to stay warm. Anna joked that her real discomfort and irritation helped her embody Jessica's chatty and somewhat annoying personality. And the actors who played the Cullens recall with both fondness and shudder everyone's favorite baseball scene.
It was a bonding experience because it was freezing. So we were all like, what is going on?
Naturally, Taylor Lautner suffered the most from the cold.
As you know, I wasn't wearing much clothing.
Jacob and the other werewolves were rarely seen in shirts. And Lautner did quite a bit of his bare-chested scenes in the piercing frost.
We were filming in Vancouver in March, so it was snowing quite a lot of the time.
On top of that, he wasn't allowed to show any discomfort, as werewolves have higher body temperature. The actors also had to work under a grueling filming schedule. This meant one more final rule was obligatory: no breaks. The first movie of the franchise was filmed on a relatively small budget, about $37 million. They didn't have time or money for grand reshoots or delays. So the cast and crew had to move fast to hit deadlines, work long hours, and film at night.
And we were shooting forever.
The budget was so limited that they couldn't afford to use a lot of digital visual effects. There was only one scene where Edward shows Bella how he sparkles in the sunlight because CGI was too expensive. Director Catherine Hardwicke shared, "We were filming in the winter because that's when you have the most overcast. We didn't want them to be sparkling all the time. On the other hand, they couldn't film when it was snowing or raining, as it would spoil the hair and makeup. That's why the iconic baseball scene took a week and a half to shoot, instead of the initial 4-day estimate. Understandably, it was exhausting for everyone involved. But all those efforts paid off, as proven by millions of fans all over the world. What's your take on the rules that shaped the Twilight franchise? Share with us in the comments. And thanks for staying with OSSA Movies.